In reading it, I realized it only ran about 12 minutes. So most people would say we had to pad it. No, I felt that you had to extend it. You had to make, that's very different. If you pad it, it's fat. If you extend it, you find somebody in there that's important, like the dog turned out to be the most important character to me, old Max. We called him Max the reindeer dog, because Max represented every boy's dog. And when he was treated badly, and that's all right. And one of the great dog stories ever written, The Bar Sinister by Richard Harding Davis, and this dog in there said, he was talking about these people. He said, I knew he was my master because he's the one that kicked me. And that's a very good description of how good a dog is, you know. So I realized this dog could be he represents the audience. And he's upset by it. He's a slave, but he has to do with his soldier, but he also is observing that he obviously doesn't like it. And so he plays a very important part to me all through the picture. And he related back to something that happened to me when I was a little boy, when the great dog that every boy hopefully has, named Teddy, because at that time they were still calling dogs Teddy after Teddy Roosevelt. And so Teddy one time came home very ill, and he'd been poisoned with strychnine and was dying. And I remember seeing him there with my father trying to rinse him out and everything. Terrifying, the worst thing I've ever seen or cared about. You know, I've never had a funeral of anybody that matched my feeling about that dog. And because I'd never met death before at all. And to see this dear animal that meant so much to us, uncomplaining and so on, and always there and always a friend. So my father, thinking with his intellect, which was a little bit lacking sometimes, decided we should have another dog. So he went out and got a dog, but he didn't think very well. But it served his purpose for a curious reason, because he got this little dog who was a fox terrier, a little tail about this long. They used to say that they had men that bit the tails off dogs. That was kind of a funny idea too. I guess it was true anyway. And you could get to like it, I suppose, if you bit enough dogs' tails off. Anyway, so he got this little dog, and he came to a point. And father felt he could teach anybody to do anything, so he decided to teach this dog to sit up. So he'd balance him up on this little point where the tail was, and he came down. He was like this. He came down to a point. And so it's kind of like this, you see. And here's his little bottom right here. So he'd get in that position, and father would say, sit. And he tried, but then he'd topple over. And then he'd set him back up and say, sit. And the little dog would topple over. And then he said, after a few times, he looked over at us, the 4 children. There were 4 of us sitting there on the floor, and we could hardly control our laughter. See this poor little dog trying hard and falling over. So he said, I'll take care of you later. Go to your rooms. So we went upstairs, but it didn't help any, because we could hear him say, sit, and then you heard a little line, and boom, he hit the floor. So mother said that he eventually put him in a corner, so we didn't know what was happening, but we hear him say, sit, and then a scraping sound, and then a pop. Well, I was maybe 7 years old at that time. And then, so when we started developing Max, I realized that this was a good bit of business. So when he props him up to use as a model for his Santa Claus costume, he used him as a clothes horse. But Max couldn't sit up, fell over. And then when they put the thing on here, it was too heavy and he fell forward. Those are little undercurrent things. That was not part of the book. That's what a director, I think, has the right and the duty to do, is to develop the story. After all, now this is not a book any longer. This is now a visualization. And you have to do away with all the adjectives and all the adverbs and put them to work. You have to show, not tell. And so the dog stood me in good stead 30 years later.